Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are able to detect the slightest changes in the overall consciousness of the human collective, and we feel you evolving all the time. But when there is a larger spike in the overall frequency of your vibration, we like to tell you about it. You have just experienced one of those spikes, and you will continue to spike as you move through this period of time you are in right now in your month of November. As you pay attention to your bodies, your thoughts, and your emotions at this time, remember that you are being called to these higher vibrational states, and if you tune in, you can feel that calling. You can feel yourselves being summoned into the light. You can feel your hearts opening. You can feel yourselves raising your consciousness, while also being grounded in your bodies, and you can open up to more access to the gifts and abilities that are inevitable for all of you to access there in this period of your lives. You are going to need more of your gifts and abilities to help, and you are especially going to be called to help those who are newly awakened and have no idea what's going on. These spikes in your frequency as a collective affect those who are still asleep even more than they affect all of you, and they can have a harder time of it because when the collective consciousness goes to a higher level, they then must release some of their lower vibrational feelings, thoughts, ideas, and beliefs in order to stay in your collective. They are detoxing, while at the same time getting more of their awakening experiences, which are confusing and which can disrupt their normal, day-to-day activities. Most people don't think very much about their spirituality, or themselves as souls, as essentially non-physical consciousness. And therefore, when they have experiences that challenge their everyday awareness, they need support, they need healing, and most of them need answers that they're not going to get from the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, or any other religious text. You are the ones who will guide them, will soothe them, will help them through these times of greater release, and thank goodness you have everything that you need right now because you are kind, compassionate, loving beings, but you are also receiving more of what you need to feel confident as the leaders that you truly are. As the awakened collective, many of you wonder what you are supposed to be doing, and your readiness, eagerness, and willingness to help has not gone unnoticed. You are going to help many, as you patiently await their awakening experiences to unfold. Right now, just look after yourselves and notice how this recent change in the overall frequency of the human collective consciousness is affecting you. Take care of yourselves so you can take care of the others. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. The Council, the journey in practical terms, what does it mean? You can say the journey is to move from an automatic reactive state into a heart-centered, consciously creative state. Since day one, you came into this world and you were told how it works, what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, what is acceptable and what is not, what you should and shouldn't do, and it became the blueprint to navigate this world/reality. So you spent your life in reactive mode, reacting to everything happening based on these parameters and definitions of what this or that means. And then one day you decide you no longer want to feel this way, and you move into another level of creatorhood. But it is the first level, when the ego's idea of better, more, stronger, comes into play. So you begin to consciously create better from a self-serving state, the ego state who wants to be better than, stronger than, richer than. And you begin to show others on the outside, with all the stuff that you gathered, that you are better, bigger. And then, the heart must open, so you are no longer creating from the self-serving ego, that relies on the external things, and begin to create from the heart, by accessing these states from within. The organ of the heart is on the inside of the body, and so to create from the heart is to create from the inside. Now you begin to create these states of better, of more joy, more harmony, more abundance from the inside and operate from there. And since there are so many subjects on your world with which you are involved, you repeat that cycle in every area, with every subject, until you've mastered them all. That's why you'll see some people in control in one area but out of control in another. Say business versus relationships. And when you finally open your heart, you will begin to see it all perfect at that level. The reactive state is perfectly reacting. The ego state is perfectly creating its self-serving end. The heart state is perfectly creating these states from the heart, no longer creating on the outside, reacting to the outside. And when you mastered all these subjects on your planet, what's over there and its half-stories, your family, friends, money, your governments, the stranger you meet, your colleagues, your business, now you have the opportunity to stay and guide others or to transition to the next level and help them from there. In a nutshell, in practicality, that's the journey, to move from a reactive state to a conscious state, which must go in degrees, for ego comes first. Then the heart opens when ego realizes all it has built on the outside is not enough, that there is something inside missing. And when you master all these subjects in your life, in your world, you would have become the master you intended to be, and you would have become higher and larger, therefore becoming that larger, bigger, wiser version of you, what you call your higher self. And the game repeats, for you to reach higher and create from higher to higher and up, back to the infinite heart of the One. Did you volunteer? Back in the 1990s, it seemed as if every New Age teacher's secret to the universe was based on one statement: remember who you are. So, the scenario would go something like this. The teacher would stand at the front of the auditorium and give these great words of profound wisdom: remember who you are. The rest of us in the audience would think, okay, I am a spark of the divine, or they would think, I am an aspect of God, or something similar. And then we would all just sit and stare at each other, each of us thinking, okay, got that, now what? We would just look rather blankly around the room, each of us wondering, what comes next? Clearly, we got it at the intellectual level, but alas, we did not get it from the heart level. It is from the heart that wisdom opens wide the doors of understanding. This understanding does not come from words, or the mind, but from the silence, the stillness. During this time in the 1990s there was much talk about how light workers volunteered to come to Earth for this mission. I remember adamantly refusing to believe I volunteered to come here. I jokingly insisted that everyone else stepped back and left the naive ones, myself included, standing in the front, looking as if we had volunteered. It was almost 10 years later before I had an epiphany. I was sitting outside on a beautiful spring morning having my quiet time. For the previous 6 months I had been seeding my consciousness with the word connection. In other words, I would almost unconsciously think about this word for a few minutes at the beginning of my quiet time and then pretty much forget about it. When you do this over a period of time, revelations begin to come to you concerning the topic or word being seeded. Thus it was, on that beautiful morning, that I had my epiphany. I felt, quite surprisingly, totally and absolutely connected to the earth and everything I could perceive in my surroundings, the little lizards, the tropical birds, the grass, the very earth herself. It was the realization, the feeling, of the One expressing as all that is. And in that moment, love, such love poured through me, filling me and expressing itself as an amazing love for humanity. It was then that I realized, of course I volunteered. How could I not? This love that is so beyond our human concept of love opened like a bright sun in my heart and blew away all dark shadows. Of course we volunteered, because that love is who we were, and that feeling was remembering who we are. It is this experience of love and the realization of oneness that begins to seed the new reality. It is the understanding that the crux of matter is a result of our inner consciousness unfolding. We must delve deeply into the truth of being. We must understand God is spirit. We are spirit being. We must live first and foremost in the spiritual universe. We must understand it deeply. We must remember it, if you will. As we train ourselves to focus our attention inward and to hold fast to the truth of our being, we begin to bring forth into outer manifestation the eternal seeds of spirit, such as love, joy, harmony, light. With every breath, we begin to remember who we are. We used to become monks in order to reach enlightenment. We left the world around us and went on to caves to minimize distractions and the allure of the outer world. In a very real way, our training is very much like this degree of devotion and dedication. Although we do not literally have to move into a cave, we do literally have to develop our abilities to hold our attention and our focus steady on our inner light, our inner being. Because we aren't living in a cave, we must build a strong foundation on the principles of truth. The world thinks that the events and strategies, work, politics, and behaviors of people create the world in which they live. As light workers, we know this is false information. Every time our focus shifts, however, to the outer world, we buy into this illusion. Then we must train up again, just like spiritual warriors, to get back into being truth realized. This is what we are here to do as light workers. We are here to be strongly anchored in the truth of our being. This conscious realization, living this conscious realization, is what we are here to do. For many years we have studied. We have mined for the buried treasure. We have meditated. We have practiced, fallen off the wagon, practiced, and studied some more. Now it is time. This is the time of great transition. The spiritual gateway is open. The very cosmos itself is working to aid our evolution into truth. We are the light workers. This is our cosmic moment.